Let's start right from the heart of the matter. Yes, electrification is proving to be another bump, and not a small one, in the road for the auto industry. But there's a far deeper narrative unfolding, one anchored in complexity and contradiction. Automakers have always been spectacularly adept at navigating crises. Now that crisis is the electric revolution itself. And frankly, some decisions surrounding it are less strategic and more dogmatic. Take the escalating bans on pure internal combustion engine vehicles across certain markets. These mandates are being enacted with a fervor that borders on ideological rather than pragmatic strategy, particularly for the middle class, who are finding pure electric vehicles, EVs, increasingly unaffordable. This is where Stellantis comes into play. Its CEO, Carlos Tavares, has fired off a barrage of unexpected critiques about the industry's electric pivot. While companies like Tesla and BYD continue to thrive, especially on the backs of aggressive pricing and well-oiled production lines, legacy automakers are struggling, desperately seeking a path to profitability in EVs. Tavares didn't hold back. He cast doubt on whether EVs can even turn a profit. Yet Tesla and BYD managed to flourish, despite targeting premium segments and cutting prices aggressively. It's a clear sign of an ongoing EV price war, and traditional manufacturers appear to be casualties in this battle. Tavares goes even further, warning that EV prices could shoot up by as much as 50% in the near future. That's not a hypothetical scare tactic. It's grounded in worrisome realities. The entire electrification movement relies on raw materials that are both scarce and becoming more politicized and contested than ever before. At Stellantis' inaugural Freedom of Mobility Forum, Tavares laid out the math. Replacing a staggering 1.3 billion gasoline-powered vehicles on global roads isn't simply about ramping up manufacture, it's about securing unimaginable volumes of lithium and other critical materials like nickel, cobalt, and graphite. Earth might have reserves, but getting at them, extracting them, refining them, transporting them, is an enormous bureaucratic and logistical mountain. This resource bottleneck poses a central threat to the narrative of unchecked EV growth. Elon Musk has voiced similar concerns, as has RJ Scaringe at Rivian. We're facing more than just a supply crunch. We're approaching an era where escalating costs are baked into every electric vehicle from the blueprint stage onward. It's not as if Tavares is exaggerating, he's drawing from hard data. In 2021, Stellantis achieved nearly an 11% margin overall. Then, with the shift to electrics, he's warning of a 50% hike in production costs. That's virtually impossible to pass on to consumers, especially as current EV sticker prices are already near sticker shock territory. Even with a 20% price bump, returns may still be negative this year. Stellantis isn't alone. Volkswagen and GM have both flirted with pricing EVs at a loss in the near past to keep pace. Now there's the jumble of strategic missteps affecting legacy brands beyond just the balance sheet. Jeep, for example, is facing some serious headwinds. Their sales plummeted. Jeep dropped nearly 20% in Q1 2023, while Ram trucks tumbled 17%. At the same time, there have been multiple recalls across highly popular models. The Wrangler's over fire risks, plus recalls of Grand Cherokee models stretching back to 2021 and 2022. The push to move on to electrics appears to be stalling, and meanwhile, current production and quality are taking a hit. Customers are reacting, and it's not good. They feel the pinch of heavy dealer markups on vehicles. What's behind the price gouging? Well, Carlos Tavares has hinted that it's part image strategy, positioning Jeep as a luxury brand. But while a Jeep Wrangler cost around $35,000 to $38,000 back in 2015, today even a manual version might set you back $52,000, with premium bills easily climbing over six figures. It's pricing loyal customers right off the brand's foundational reputation for rugged, accessible off-road vehicles. Meanwhile, Jeep's EV plans remain alive but highly deferred. Original concepts like the Wrangler Magneto 3.0, boasting 650 horsepower and a breathtaking 900 pound-feet of torque, may turn heads, but the real EV version of the Wrangler has been pushed back to an unbelievable 2027 launch. In the meantime, Stellantis is pivoting to other models, like the Avenger, the Recon, and an electric Wagoneer. The Avenger is already out in Europe for combustion, with eyes set on zero-emissions versions. The Recon is headed to the US next year, and the high-end Wagoneer EV is expected to make its full debut later this year. But all the while, the full-scale electric Wrangler remains stuck in launch limbo. EV batteries themselves raise another thorny question. Can they truly handle the SUV lifestyle we love so much? Yes, they produce no emissions at the tailpipe. But the story doesn't end there. If your grid is coal-powered, an electric SUV may only marginally outperform a hyper-efficient ICE vehicle in terms of carbon emissions. Then there's weight, heavier payloads, potential degradation, the tremendous costs of battery replacement. All of it shrinks the advantage EVs might otherwise hold. And let's not pretend this trend is just Stellantis and Jeep whining. Honda's CEO has his own reservations. He's long been immersed in engine development, and for him, the total shift to EV is both tactical and ideological. Volkswagen and Ford too approached electrification reluctantly, only embracing it as necessity overtook strategy. Still, through the fog there is movement. At its core, Stellantis is launching a multi-pronged comeback strategy. First, pricing reform. Dealer markups have been outrageous, and they've cost the company credibility. Tavares is steering toward a revamped retail model, one designed to lower MSRPs and entice buyers back in. Second, cost restructuring. He's highlighted that up to 85% of a vehicle's value comes from external suppliers, meaning if you pressure your supply chain effectively, you can curb cost pressures without harming customers. Third, tapping underused infrastructure. Older plants might reopen under retooled configurations to support more efficient EV production domestically in the US. He emphasized the importance of cost reduction in preserving affordability and, critically, keeping middle-class buyers in the fold. Meanwhile, models that may pave the way are in motion. The Avenger crossover is debuting in Europe soon, the Recon EV is headed to the US in 2026 or beyond, and Wagoneer's electric take is on the docket for a full reveal later in 2025. As for Jeep's crown jewel, the Wrangler EV, Tavares and Monet hint it'll outperform its ICE ancestor muster in off-road capabilities. But we're still sitting on that promise while the countdown inches ahead year by year. Tesla and BYD continue cruising, thanks to early investment advantage, streamlining, localized production, and economies of scale. Their EVs come in cheaper than those from legacy automakers. In response, Stellantis and others are desperately trying to melt down cost curves while protecting their brands. Over time, perhaps quality and tradition will win consumer appreciation, past flimsy innovators. But right now, the battle lines are drawn. So where does that leave us? Are EVs a bad idea? Are internal combustion engines still our savior? Truth is, the answer is complicated. We know EVs eliminate tailpipe emissions instantly, but their environmental impact depends heavily on electricity sources, supply chain sustainability, and battery longevity. Meanwhile, ICE engines have decades of refinement behind them. They're familiar, reliable, and infrastructure-ready. Yet they remain enemies of emissions targets and regulatory mandates. This juxtaposition feels like something out of an epic drama. EVs promise a cleaner horizon, but they come at cost and complexity. ICE engines are comforting, but environmentally precarious. Automakers must navigate raw material scarcity, supply chain turbulence, pricing wars, evolving consumer expectations, and brand identity crises. That's why Tavares is so vocal. He's demanding strategic clarity amidst industry chaos, not ideological conformity. He's recognizing the electric dream as aspirational, yes, but deeply constrained by financial, technical, and systemic limits. Will Stellantis survive? More importantly, will the iconic automotive institutions adapt and retain relevance in an increasingly electrified and uncompromising future? Only time will tell. But what's clear is this: electrification is far more than a trend. It's a crucible in which the future of mobility, affordability, and identity is being forged under pressure. And while companies like Tesla and BYD appear to sprint ahead, legacy automakers are scrambling, stalling, innovating, and boldly recalibrating. The stakes couldn't be higher, the challenges more daunting, and yet the race continues, twist and turn, toward a future that's electrifying. Whether we're ready or not,